Abidi no tell farmer. Save the soil, you know. Abidi no tell farmer. No tell farmer.
Yeah.
Make our planet better.
Yo,
Planet better.
red worms in the cover crop. Fresh load of some compost. New mulch layer on the top. Let it grow, then we chop and drop those. I don't disturb my soil, no. Through the winter I let that daikon go. Roots penetrate deep and break down. I just feed the soil and take care of.
Hey, what's up, growers? I hope you're having a good week. I appreciate you guys for following along. I kind of want to go over what I use in my garden, kind of simplify things. I get a lot of questions like, how much does this garden cost? You guys must be spending a fortune. And when switching over to organics, it's more expensive getting started, but I promise you in the long run, you're not rebuying soil, you're not rebuying nutrients constantly. You can buy in bulk at a decent price, and this stuff can last you a year, if not 2 years. So you're talking almost 6 grows, maybe even 7 if you're doing autoflowers or shorter flowering periods. So I just want to kind of highlight some of the main products that I use. These ones on the left you don't necessarily have to use. The Build a Soil Light is for my seed starting. The Gnarly Barley is sprouted seeds. That comes in the craft blend. And the Gold Mustard Seed is a IPM measurement, and it's also a good nitrogen source, and it's going to come with a lot of other amendments. So these 3 you don't necessarily have to get. So really all you're re-amending with is 4 different products. And you don't have to use Build a Soil by any means. You can make your own compost. You can make your own castings. You can find your own nutrition source that's balanced and good for you. But I just wanted to kind of highlight and I'm actually going to talk about prices and what it costs, to kind of get into it. I wrote some numbers down here. So we're just going to start off from the beginning. So say you have nothing and you're wanting to get into growing. Now, I don't want to scare you by these numbers because it's going to be expensive to get started, but you're making an investment. You're investing in yourself. You're not going to the dispensary and spending, I don't know how much you guys were, spending, but I was, a Z a week, and you're talking sometimes $150, $200, or maybe even more if you're paying, top shelf. So you're talking, $600 to $800 a month you're spending on your medicine when you could be growing your own organically, very natural sources, and learn how to make your own products so we're not even buying any anymore. And that's my goal at the end of the day, is to get rid of these products, not because I don't love Build, I really do, but gardening is supposed to be a cheap project. It's supposed to be a cheap hobby, and this stuff just like a cheater. So you can buy this stuff so you're growing good medicine, you're getting the yields that you're after, but you're learning how to make ferments, you're learning how to make castings, you're learning how to make compost, because that's all you really need in a good soil food web body of soil is good nutrition from your compost. If you can make a killer compost, some craft or some worm castings, you're going to crush it. You don't need to buy a bunch of stuff. So get into organic gardening. I really, really recommend it, especially if you're busier, because we're going to be growing in bigger bodies of soil. So you're not watering as much. You're not having to feed as much. You can do big re-amends after you harvest, and then you're just watering only throughout the whole grow and watching these plants flourish with just watering. And sometimes you get, you want to get in there like, I need to do something, I need to feed something, but you don't. You really don't. These plants steer themselves. If the biology in the soil is good, you're going to be good. You're going to have great yields. So let's just kind of talk about getting into it. So there's many different styles of growing. You can grow indoor, you can grow in a room, you can grow outdoor. I mean, if you can grow outdoor, all the power to you. I'd love to grow outdoors. I'm in Michigan, and I live in a kind of a busier area, so it's hard for me to grow outdoors. I'm definitely working on it. I will be getting a greenhouse eventually, but we're growing indoors right now. That's what we're going to talk about here. So you're going to want to get your equipment, your lights, your tents, or your fans, your humidifiers, everything you're going to need to crush. So I recommend kind of getting a kit if you have nothing and you don't have a room per se that you can control the environment. You're going to want to buy a kit. So there's 3x3 kits, 2x2, 4x4, 5x5 kits. I mean, you can buy all sorts of kits that's going to come with everything you need: lights, humidifiers, tents, everything that you need to crush it. So I just kind of went down, and this is from AC Infinity. So you can get a 3x3 tent. Use code Cantaloupe to save you percentage off too. You get 15% off there. You can get a 3x3 tent for $630. And like I said, these numbers seem high, but in the grand scheme of things, you're spending $600, bucks at the dispensary every month if you're heavily using your medicine. So that right there, in 1 month, you bought a 3x3 full setup. A 4x4 kit's $1,000. In 2 months, you bought instead of going to the dispensary, every week, you've just bought it in 2 months by not going to the dispensary with $1,000. So if you have to, what I did is I gave up smoking for a little bit so I could afford some of this stuff, because the dispensary takes a lot of money, and I'm not totally against dispensaries. There's really good craft sources that have really good medicine for you, but I really encourage you to get in there, get your fingers dirty, play in the dirt, grow your own medicine, because not only do you have your own medicine, you're saving money, but it's so majestic, so powerful, and something that you don't want to miss out on. Even if you're only growing your own vegetables, this system works for any type of plant, any type of vegetables. It's natural. It's what's happening underneath our soil, in our earth. It's the soil food web. It's the way to go. It's a really good idea. So then you're going to want to talk about, what's it going to cost me electrical wise. I have 6 tents right now, and I have a lot of juice coming out of this. I should have added up all the watts that I got. I mean, it is absurd. If you watched me growing, I got a really big setup. I got a lot of powerful lights, fans, humidifiers, dehumidifiers, lighting, everything going on. And I'm telling you right now, I only spend $75 extra a month in the summer, 100 to 115 in the winter, because the furnace is running constantly. But that, again, just go back to thinking about your dispensary prices. This is what always got it to me. It's like, man, I was spending $150 in a week, lickety split. You got right there, you're not going to the dispensary, you're saving money right there. You can afford to up your electrical bill a little bit. So the electricity with these LEDs is not very much. It's not what you'd think. It's very cheap to run these constantly, and you don't have to run a massive grow. If you're running just a 5x5 kit in there, you're probably maybe talking about $25 to $50 a month. Not even 50, more closer to $25 a month. It's amazing how good these LEDs are, and how cheap it is to run your grow compared to going to the dispensary. And I'm going to keep comparing it to the dispensary, because let's just, between me and you, we're getting faded some way, one way or another. We're buying it, we're growing it some way or another. So why not grow it? Why not save some money in the long run? Because you will save money, heaps and loads of money. My boy Matt, he was spending $800 a month at the dispensary. He's growing now. He's probably making that by growing his own. Okay, so we're going to dive into some other things. So we talked about our tents, our lights, our kits. You're talking about $600 to $1,000, and you could probably go cheaper with smaller tents. If you just have a small area and you can only get a 2x2 in there, you're talking less than $500 to get started with that. Now let's talk about soil or pots. Now, I recommend 15 gallons or more, and so do all the organic growers. I learned it from Jeremy over there at Build the Soil. 15 gallons or more is what you're going to be after to be able to have the hands off, run this system as little as possible, water only. So you're thinking, 15 gallon pots, $22, 30 gallon pots, $26. You can get a 3x3 bed, which is 70 gallons of soil, for $92. I mean, once again, dispensary. Go back to the dispensary. How much are you spending? How much can you save? A little more up front, but once you get in the door, you're going to be golden, especially with organics, because you're not continually buying soil. I did the math. So soil these days is like $25 to $50 per cubic foot, which is roughly about 7 gallons of soil. You're looking, say you run 7 gallons, and you're going to run that 3 times a year, and you're throwing your soil away. You're spending $375 to $750 a year on soil. You could buy a grow tent every year without buying the soil. So it really allows you to be able to play more and spend more with going organic. You don't have to play, oh, this is a new hot topic. And I'm not totally against synthetic. I'm just showing you what crushes and works for me in my garden, and what saves me a lot of money in the long haul. Because once you get started, you get the tents, you get the beds, you buy the big batches of soil, then you're just paying for re-amending. And then eventually you're growing, you're making your own amendments, you're making your own castings, you're making your own compost. So you're not buying anything anymore. You're just buying a seed, putting it in the dirt, and letting her flourish. So we're going to kind of talk about what I do for re-amend, what you can get away with just growing in 15 gallons or more, re-amending with these 4 products, and doing that time and time again. These are big bags of amendments. These are going to last you a year, if not 2, like we talked about. You can get the craft blend here. This is a 10-gallon bag for $50. This 10-gallon, this is going to last, and you know me, I got a bunch of beds in here. This is going to last me probably 2 years. I don't have to buy any craft blend. You're only re-amending it half a cup per per cubic foot, or a cup per cubic foot. So that's not very much at all. And I love it. So build a soil, or the build a flower compost here, just getting that nutrition in there, getting the biology in there. 1 gallon is $28. So you can take 1 gallon. This isn't 1 gallon. This is almost a cubic foot, I think. But I just like to buy in bulk, because then you're not buying it for a year or two at a time. But a 28 gallon, or 1 gallon for $28, I take that 1 gallon and I'll split it between two 70-gallon beds. So I just right there, I just recommended 140 gallons of soil with $28 of castings, or compost, sorry. And it crushes it, guys. I'm very excited about this. I wanted to make this episode. I wanted to get a price thing for you guys. I'm not trying to sell you on this by any means. You go your own route. I get a lot of questions about, man, you spend so much money, and I really don't. And I crush these grows. And it's not even just me. It's these companies. It's Build a Soil that's showing you the way, teaching you as they go, so maybe you can wean off of their products. So we talked about the craft blend, we talked about the Build a Soil compost. Now let's talk about the Rootwise. This is going to be your beneficial inoculant, the microbes. So this with the enzyme elixir, I don't have the enzyme elixir. I keep it in the fridge. I should have brought that down. That's just it's enzymes that are built to stimulate these microbes to get active in your soil. So you're going to add this maybe once or twice a grow. And this right here was 44 ounces for $45. This I've bought. I've had this for 2 years. I shit you not. 2 years. This is gonna last me 3, if not 4 years, because it's like 1 teaspoon for 5 gallon, and the biology is just out of this world. It's broken records in the pumpkin game. You just add a little bit of this at the beginning of the grow, maybe add a little bit in the middle, a little at the end of flower, and you're on it. And they even got a biophos that's more stimulated for phosphorus, and that's going to be for your flowering. But you don't need it. You can just get away with this micro complete. It's very good for germination and just getting those seeds off to the best start you can, because you're a home grower and you want to show all the love you can. So we talked about the 3 products right there. Now we're just going to talk about my boy Alex from Colorado Castings. They did a test. It's like 55-1 of this castings versus another. Tested, proven, kills it, crushes it. It's got all of the beneficials in there that you need. It's going to come with that punch that you want. And this right here, same thing. All you need is an inch layer on your reamend over your soil if you're growing a 7-gallon pot. I mean, you're talking minuscule. This could last you a year, 2 years. And the price for this right here is, let's find this, Cowoco, $64. And it's last after a year, and you don't have to use it much, and your beds are getting stronger and better to where you're not adding as much, because the biology and your soldiers, your microbes, your worms, they're all working for you, making this nutrition available. You're chopping and dropping your leaves that's holding all the nutrients that you fed the soil back into the soil. It's really magical. It's really fun to get into. And the prices, like I said, they're not bad. They're really not, because you're not buying small amounts. This stuff is very cheap in the grand scheme of things, because it's lasting you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 grows, depending on the size that you buy. So that's all you need right there. These 4 bags, you can crush it. Get your soil, get your tents, buy these 4 bags, and you're going to have yields better than you could ever imagine with the hands-off growing, water only. Now these right here are kind of my extra additives that I like to use. This gnarly barley, I'm a huge sprouted seed guy. I love the idea of it. There's so many enzymes, there's so much nutrition that comes with it. But that's what's cool about the craft blend. The gnarly barley comes in it. So you can get away with just running this craft blend, and you're going to get the sprouted seeds in there with it. But I just like to go extra with the sprouted seed, just for me, just for personal use. Don't need it. The ground mustard seed, you don't need this either. This is more for IPM, and if you're doing soil tests, it's a good nitrogen source. So if you're lacking nitrogen, put in some ground mustard seed. This is milled. I got 6 pounds of it for $61. 6 pounds. I mean, you're putting minuscule of all of this in there. This right here, you're just sprinkling it in your bed. Same with the gold mustard seed. You're just sprinkling it in your bed. You're not putting 2, 3 cups at a time. So this is going to last a long, long time. The Build a Soil Light right here, and there's the Build a Soil 3.0. I like to use the Build a Soil Light for my seed start, so I'm only using solo cups. This is 7 gallons, a cubic foot. How many solo cups can you fill with 7 gallons? And this is $42 without a discount code. If you use Cantaloupe, you're going to save on all of this stuff, at least 5%. So I highly recommend it, guys. This is very exciting. I wanted to get you guys on the grow. I wanted to explain to how much I'm spending, and there's no bullshit. I'm not lying about prices, and you see the yields, you see the grow, and I'm not doing anything more other than adding in some ferments, and I may add in some build of edge when I'm running seedlings, but that's all extra. You don't need that stuff to crush it in your garden. It's just me being a home gardener that I'm trying to give all the love that I can. So you can add more of this stuff. You don't need this. You could run these 4 things and you're gonna crush it. And if you want to run a soil test, I don't know if you guys have ever bought like magnesium sulfate or zinc or boron. That stuff is cheaper than this. You're talking stuff that's gonna last you 3, 4, 5. It's probably gonna go bad before you can use it all, if it even goes bad. So you can replace all of this with a soil test, spend the money on the soil test, buy in bulk your individual amendments, and re-amend that way. So there's both ways to go about it. I'm just really excited, guys. I love gardening. I love the organic way. I love build a soil, but I love more is that they show you the way. They show you how to make ferments. Miles from Fermented Plant Extracts, I went to a class on how to make ferments. He can show you how to make ferments. Clactamus Coots, Alex, they'll walk you through and help you how to make your own castings. There's books on it. There's so many ways to make your own amendments. Your compost, everyone's been composting since you know how long, and there's a right way and a wrong way to doing compost, but the good news is it's 2025. We got Google. We got so much scientific backed data on the internet that you can learn all of this on your own. You just need to get your foot in the door. And if you don't have time to suffer yields, this is the way to go. Get all of this stuff, do your grow, study for a year while your grow's kicking ass at the same time. And you're like, okay, next year I'm going to make my own castings. No, the year after that, I'm going to make my own ferments. Such a simple process. It's so much common sense, and it's amazing how much organic lifestyle meshes with just the natural way. So I think we covered it all, guys. Like, this is all you really need to do. Like I said, the Build a Soil Lights, the $42 per cubic foot, cheap at all. I run the 70-gallon 3x3 beds. That was $92 to get in the door, and then the soil, this is where it's kind of scary, it's $450. But I've got 5 yields, hella yields, off of my 3-gallon beds for $450. So that paid for itself already times over. And I'm never probably going to buy soil again. If you take care of your soil, you're getting soil tests, you're keeping up on watering, you have good environment practices, you're staying up on the IPM, these could last you 10, 15, 20 years probably. There's people 50, 60, 70 cycles deep on the same soil. Stop throwing your soil away. Save your soil, re-amend it. If you've got a bunch of old re-amended soil, Build a Soil even's got kits to re-amend that soil appropriately. That's already a kit set up to you that you can re-amend that old soil instead of getting rid of it and having to buy new. So I'll let you go, Gromies. I just want to kind of cover what I spend in here and how you guys can get involved in organic gardening. And if you need help and you want to talk about some of these products that maybe you can get rid of or maybe add, I'd love to talk you with that. Like I said, I'm not trying to make money off you guys. I don't need to make money off of anybody. I want you guys to grow organic, love what you're doing, have good success, because there's nothing more frustrating than gardening and watching everybody, you know, kind of pass you and you're like, man, why can't I do this? Why am I not getting the yields? Get away from all the pH and getting all away from all the hands-on stuff. Get to the hands-off growing. Grow organic. Gives you more time to do your research, to do your defoliations, to do your training, and to spend time with your family. So much love, Gromies. I appreciate you guys. Reach out if you need anything. Email me at mechanimustluke@gmail.com. And thank you so much for following along. Much love and have a great night.
Be the no-till farmer. Save the soil, you know. I be the no-till farmer. No-till farmer.
Yeah.
Make our planet better.
Yo,
Planet better.
red worms in the cover crop. Fresh load of some compost. New mulch layer on the top. Let it grow, then we chop and drop those. I don't disturb my soil, no. Through the winter I let that daikon go. Roots penetrate deep and break down. I just feed the soil and take care of